So right now I got the mill running in back gear. We're running 210 RPM on here. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring it down a little bit closer. And I have the speed selector on here to be 6 thousandths down feed per revolution. I got my depth stop set to trip out right at the bottom where I want it every time. All you have to do now, engage the power feed and let her rip. Give her a little bit of lubricant here. Helps cut the aluminum. Aluminum's really gummy stuff. I honestly don't like working with it. I much prefer steel. Thing is, it just sticks to your cutters like crazy. If you don't have something on there, it just gums up. It's very sticky. So there's two distinct noises you'll hear here. You'll hear a hissing from right here. That's the sound of the cutter. That's making a really nice smooth cut right now. And then you'll hear the churning. That's the bowl gear in the back gear. There's a big cast iron gear in there for gear reduction. You're hearing gear noise. But that really smooth hissing sound is what you want to hear from your cutter here. If you start hearing any humming or chattering from your cutter, you gotta ease up on it a little bit. Take a shallower cut, slow down your feed, something like that, or maybe your cutter's getting dull. Okay, the interrupted cut that you're hearing right now, I'll take you over and show you what it is. There's a little ledge that's down in there that it's hitting. We're getting near the bottom of it. Okay, and that right there, you heard that click. That was a power feed tripping out. I like to usually stop the mill first. I don't have my switch hooked up quite yet. I'll blow it off a little bit here. Bring the cutter up. Rinse and repeat. So after each time we make a pass, we have to adjust the boring head here. This one, the graduations between all those marks are 5/10,000ths of an inch, or half a thou, and that's how far it's stepping over. The numbers themselves on here are a direct reading, so if you move this over to 10, that means you have increased the diameter 10 thou. So I've been taking, just to rough things in here, a 50 thou cut each time. Just loosen the Gibbs screws on here. And then they have a little hex key going here. We'll turn it right now, we're at the 0. So if we want to take a 50 thou cut, we'll just bring it around until the 50 lines up, just like that. And I always leave a little preload on these Gibbs screws. That way you don't end up with any backlash. That's not important for roughing, of course, but when you take your finishing pass, you don't want to overshoot. So I leave a little bit of resistance there. You don't have to kill these, just snug them up a little bit. You don't want it moving around on you. For measuring, when I'm just roughing in, I will use the jaws on the caliper to just stick in here and get a rough measurement. At this point, I'm usually taking 50 thou at a time, so it doesn't matter. When I start getting closer, I need to get a little bit more precise. So I use these T gauges. So these are just spring-loaded telescoping gauges. And basically what you want to do is you compress it and put a little bit of tension on it, stick it in the hole, release the tension, put a little bit of tension on it again, and then rock it. And what that rocking does with a little bit of tension on here, it compresses these and they stick. And then when you're still sort of roughing, you can come at it with your calipers again. Or when you're getting real close, you can take your micrometer to it and measure across the points. Since we're just sneaking up on it here, we'll go ahead and kind of stick that there, and we will release. We'll put a little bit of tension on it, and then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna tip it like that. Doesn't take much. So then, just measure across our points. We're getting real close. Getting real close. All right, let's see. This is the finishing pass right now. Let me take you up a little bit closer here. So this right here, I have the mill set up on 1.5 thousandths feed per revolution, and I did not advance the boring head at all. I was pretty close to within tolerance, but I wanted to sneak up on it just a little bit. And what this is really doing, you can see on the top, there's a fairly big difference between what's up on top and then on the bottom. Basically, it's just cutting off the top of the teeth between all the heavier cuts. It's got a triangular end on it, so it's basically making one long spiral triangular groove as it goes down. And going at a finer feed knocks down that tooth just a little bit more each time. And so this will be enough to take off just a few thousandths of an inch, and that will put me right where I want to be. You can probably hear that sound a little bit, just a real light hiss. That boring head as it goes down. It's a lot slower this way, but seems to work pretty good. Final test is the Big Daddy, the bore gauge. This one right here, super sensitive. It measures in 10 thousandths of an inch per increment. So as it sits right here, one revolution, one complete revolution of that dial is 10 thousandths of an inch. Take the dial bore gauge. Ow. I don't have enough room. Take the tool out here. There we go. Okay. Try that again. Sneak the bore gauge in here. Ooh. Okay. This is what we call the reversal point. As we rock it one way, the needle goes up and it goes back down. I'll give you a close-up of this a second here. Let's see if I can't do this. It's gonna be a little bit of a hassle. Okay, I think we got it here. Drop our bore gauge in on an angle. We're gonna rock it and watch for the reversal point of that needle. Slowing down, coming up. And there she is, right there. That's really close. Or within 2 10,000ths of an inch. On a hole that's got 10 thou clearance, no sense going any farther. That's close enough.